right now. Boom! Live and direct on the Trumon Show with my brother Prashant. How are you?
I'm fine,
PT,
Yannick.
PT.
Yeah, Yannick, I'm fine, and it's after a long while we are doing this again, so there's been a little bit of a gap. So, like, yeah, it's good to be here again and like
Yeah,
talk about what is happening and what's going on.
that's
On
it. We're gonna have a just another reflection, reasoning. I think in the
yeah,
moment, like we said to each other, we don't stress
yes,
out with this for sure. Life is not for us to stress out. Life is
yeah,
for us to full joy, cherish and full joy. So that's what we're gonna do
yes,
today.
yes,
And
yes,
like I
yes,
told you, I called those. I was thinking. I think sometime of why I do this, why I do this. But it's a very, very, like I said to you, it's a divine opportunity to elevate our
yes,
vibration. This is
yes,
very much what it is. We come
yeah.
together, we reason on different topics,
Topics, yeah,
not subjects,
yeah,
topics, and that's it. And we expand the connection to ourselves, we expand the connection to the world at the same time. The more you connect to yourself, the more I feel connected with the world, and I don't need to necessarily have a physical contact. I don't think this is how really we're gonna create the change. It's really by connection to our arts,
yeah, yeah.
connecting with the arts. What do you think about that? We're gonna start with that,
Yeah.
creating a true connection from the heart.
Yes, the thing is with the heart. When you say the word heart, it's the same word as earth. It's an anagram for earth. A heart is the same thing, and for most people actually it'll be to develop a heart would be a thing, like because heart is not an automatic thing, like the lower three chakras levels which you're drawn, like the heart is that green thing, the green chakra mandala you have out there. So to develop that, it's that thing skill, because a lot of people think that a lot of emotions they are feeling are heart emotions, but when they're actually feeling them from the solar plexus. So a lot of things which are actually happening at the solar plexus level, you think of that as, oh, this is my heart, like, okay. But so one has to distinguish between what is happening at the heart level, which is a different level than solar plexus level emotions. And a lot of people are caught in the lower three chakras and the lower three vibrations, and they're not going up to the heart level, because that's the rainbow bridge between the solar plexus and the heart chakra, which has to be gone through, and building up of that rainbow bridge for people through their actual actions, through their coherence, and through their centering, and through their work. People have to build it. It's a process. It's nothing which is automatic. One has to do it. One has to put in work for it. It's nothing which one is born with straight away. So it's something which has to be developed. And yeah, obviously that is the whole point. If people get to that level, that's like a heaven only, fourth heaven, like from
Because
three down to the, yeah, it's like, yeah, yeah,
the way I
yeah,
see it, PT,
yeah,
we're all beings here. We're all
yeah,
beings. We all
yeah,
have a heart. But I think that art can be like the heart of gold. We always hear the heart of gold, the heart of gold, get a heart
yeah,
of gold. But that's what I would like to have one day. Is really to have a shiny, shiny art, really like with good vibration, with love,
yeah,
compassion,
yeah,
kindness, empathy to the max. And
yeah,
that art really becomes of gold. But if you want to have a heart of gold, I think it's important that we start to dig inside, like you
yeah,
go in the earth to dig
yeah,
for gold.
yes, yes.
Sometimes
I
you're
mean,
going to
because
dig. You
yeah,
have to dig deep sometimes. So,
yes,
same.
because gold means, like when they say gold means actually like a complete fractality, which is like a phi ratio thing. So if your heart, it comes to your very heart rate variability comes to golden ratio, basically, then you are coming to closer to a heart of gold, actually. But which is actually there in your heart rate variability anyways. uh, and the thing with all of that is a psychological work which needs to happen for that, and for that it is like getting rid of notions. People have so many notions of different kind, all kinds of notions are there in people's heads. So to letting them go of those notions, okay. Like for example, we can like have a start of a simple, like a sort of notion, like people have a thing of ownership of other people, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if people have relationship, or there's a husband wife, then husband feels that owns the wife thinks it owns the husband, okay. And then is like a parents and kids, like, so parents think they own the kid thinks it owns the parents, okay. So that's a psychological notion. But the reality in this multiverse is that no being can own another being, Okay, so that's the multiversal truth fact. Okay, like that there is no being can own another being. Okay, so as long as you keep on struggling with that notion of ownership, whether in all these relationships, which is what is happening most of the time in this people and the world and stuff like that, you can see it all around you. Okay, and that's what, and then that stops you from developing this heart which we are talking about, or heart of gold, or anything. If you don't go past these kind of basics, okay, of the psychological thing, like, and the point is that most of the people's energies and time and stuff goes in trying to own another being.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So and then they think that's love. Okay, now that is equated with the word love too. Okay, now, so it's not love, it's just possessiveness, you know klingonness, like you're clinging on or something like that, but it's termed as love. It comes under that word love. So then the word love gets tainted, and it doesn't stay evoluting anymore, and there's no evolving in that love. Okay, it's just ownership, like possessiveness, and these kind of things which happen, and that you can see in all the things around. So these kind of concepts, I would say, like, if people around the earth right now just stated this one sentence many, and then what they repeated this sentence, like, no being can own another being. Okay, just this one sentence, if they kept on repeating, then it psychologically it'll create some space for them to understand that there'll be a different kind of earth or society or people, or like a vibration or a sort of environment we would have here. Yeah.
I say it all the time. Love is so big, PT, so huge. Love is so huge. We could be here, just come here and talk about love, because to me, love, and I keep talking about love, empathy, compassion, kindness, all this, because this is what I need more. Like I don't have to call. Like, just to call people names, say they're asleep, just that. Just, we must be kind to each other if we want to reach each other's art, because this is
Yes.
where the change is going to happen. It's into your art. It's not, the mind has been programmed, so the blueprint has to be redone first, but you
Yes.
can reach the heart of people pretty easily. Like, if your art is pure and true, and we're all good-hearted people. It's just,
Yes.
I think.
Yes, but the thing is, that's what I'm saying. Like the kindness and stuff, like you talked about the kindness, but kindness disappears when the ownership comes, and
Yeah.
the whole thing, possessiveness comes. Then the kindness is automatically lost. Like immediately, like like no one can be kind to another being if they are wanting to own them and trying to own them and stuff like that. It's that's not possible. You can't have both things at the same time. So you have to let go of something first. And I think this idea of ownership and that thing, and possessing and clinging on, is a very important thing, because that's what is actually happening. Okay, that's where people are trapped, and that's what people are functioning by, most of the people around, if you notice,
Yeah,
like it's.
and a good
Yeah.
a good example of that, people hold on to things, love, because we have come to love our cell
Yeah.
phone, our houses, our cars, but we don't know how to really love people, genuine love.
Yeah.
We feel like they belong to us. You say, my wife, my children, my
Yeah. Yeah.
this, my dog.
Yeah.
When you go take a walk with the dog and you let her loose, and she can be gone, like she
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
She's not
Yes.
yours.
Yes.
So, and
Yes.
I let my own dog loose, and if she wants to go, she goes. Like, I can't hold her back, but I
Yes.
know
Yes.
she's gonna stay close because she
Yeah.
gets the real, genuine love from me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but why?
That is. Yeah.
Why, PT, does, like, I see my dog having that genuine love? Like, it's really, they still have emotions. Like, you see them having anxiety and stuff, the dogs and the animals, but they
Yeah.
still have a tremendous amount of love to give and to like.
Yeah. I mean, thing is, in these kind of relationships, there has to be like a choice and a freedom. Okay, if the freedom and choice is not there, like right now, everything has become sort of legal and stuff. Like, okay, you're married now.
Yeah.
Okay, now if you're married, then you're in a legal bond. Now, if you have to like get out of that, like then you have to do some legal thing again. Like James saying, I mean, and in the West, it's very crazy. Even with the animals and stuff, like if you let the dog loose, then there can be people coming at you and say like it's illegal to leave the dog. Okay,
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
okay, and what I'm saying is we are living in a structure where everything is so crazy in this kind of way. It's all sort of legal or sort of like some laws. It's nothing to do with the nature or multiverse, how it functions, or freedom of choice, or any kind of freedom at all in any kind of way, like so like you are owned by, like, okay, you're in the wife husband thing, that's a legal thing, and then you are working for a company or whatever, then that's another legal thing, then they own you basically. And it becomes like a thing, and to have kindness and compassion and all those things through all of that, it becomes absolutely impossible, like for people to actually practically manifesting. Because for me, it has to be practical and real, like not just a theoretical concept or like a actual. It has to be a realistic dealing on a day-to-day basis with other
So
beings. Yeah,
yeah,
like, and not all beings are even human out here. So that's the problem, like that people don't understand that you're not always dealing with every being out here is a human being, like a lot of beings which don't have any spirit, or like, like, so there are beings like that also on earth. So the beings who have spirit, and who are dealing with that, and then they get frustrated because they're not getting the same response from the other beings and stuff like that. So there's a certain amount of knowledge people have to get into about the whole thing which we are living in, what kind of situation we are in, you know and that's very important before one can direct one's compassion, or one's awareness properly and fully in a more like useful way, like that's
useful
what.
way. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
so
yeah,
all these compassion, kindness that I said, empathy, and all that could only the real feeling of it could only come out from genuine love. You think?
yeah.
Like
Genuine
if
love
we
is like,
huh?
yeah, like love is like, okay, like if you come across a being, any being, okay, and you want them to evolve, you want them to go up higher, okay, I mean, then that is love. Anyways, like, I mean, to me, that is love. Okay, if you deal with a being and you want them to go higher and you want them to evolve, you want better for them, that they advance, evolve, elevate is the word which
Yeah.
was used in the beginning. Yeah. So that is love. I mean, that automatically is love. I mean, there is no other definition of that thing, love, in that way, which we can come up with. Like, so, I mean, you don't want anything bad for them or anything, that thing. Like, you want only good, and good will only mean evolving and elevating and all of that. So that's the feeling. Okay, but and people have to understand, like, there are certain beings who are not real beings or that kind of beings, and they might not respond to that kind of thing, and they will not that thing. So people should not be like pushy in that way. Oh, no, 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 you have to, or anything like that, because they might not respond to that. So then love will be automatically not like worrying about that kind of thing, because then you take, okay, every being has this free choice, free will, and they'll go according to whatever their free will, free choices. So one should not be like too like pressing in this kind of thing either. Like, there cannot be any kind of pressing sort of thing. Then it becomes more, again, it gets off from that love vibration or
And
evolving vibration. So
same for the animals, eh? We say we love animals. Who doesn't love animals? But then we
yeah,
go eat them and kill them.
yeah, yeah. That's just pure schizophrenia. All of that, like, that is
Like
just
pure
that's just
insanity.
insanity. That's schizophrenia. Like, that's complete schizophrenia. That's like, you don't know anything on a practical level at all. Like, like, you keep your eyes and ears and everything completely closed, and then you're talking about, then the word love becomes very dangerous word,
Yeah.
because yeah, because it can be misused, and it has been misused so much on this earth plane that, the misuse of that word, I cannot even go into. We can like talk 100 hours like on the misuse of it, so that's not the thing. I think the first thing is, like, no being can own another being. Then the being, when you use the word being, then human, animal, everything comes into it. Okay, like, so automatically all beings come into it. So then it gives a bigger picture, or a better picture of what love is, or how it can be actually practically applied in any situation. So where the freedom is there for the other being, and if people are keeping things like against their will, and a lot of times, and all the tensions which happen, especially in all the relationships like husband, wife, and parent, children, which is mostly what happens around earth, all that relationship tension, and all of that happens because there is no evolutionary thing in that. And it's mostly about possession. You are mine, I'm yours, you're mine, and then this is mine. And it starts from a very like young level, when you are a kid and you look at your parents, and if you say that these are my parents, okay, if you say that they are my parents, from that point you are trying to say like, okay, now I own them, like then I can ask them things. Okay, they belong to me, then I can sort of ask them things, or I can be that thing towards them. And then what creates a bratish attitude from a very young age,
I
you
can
know.
abuse them too.
Yeah, I can abuse them, yeah, whatever, because these are mine. Okay, so then that's what creates that bratish attitude from a very young age. Then the whole word love or kindness or compassion, though those things are thrown very far out of the window, and you go on a different path completely from a very beginning. So from a very young age these things start. It's not something which starts at like some later time or something, you know. So we have to be aware of all these processes and of this whole ownership issue, you know, which I find is the biggest issue on earth, like, you know. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's one
yeah,
of the biggest issue because it creates a big trauma also when we induce that
yeah,
trauma ourselves by getting married and stuff. I realized today that
yeah,
marriage was not essential for me to live with another person. Like it's just an added trauma, I find.
yeah,
Because
yes,
honestly, it's
yeah,
just a piece of paper. And first of all, the trauma originate from their Babylonian church. So I
yes,
voluntarily went in, like, we do things very, very
mechanical,
unconscious and very robotic. Very
mechanical,
robotic in a lifetime unless you wake up that conscience and you question things objectively for what they are, like the church, the government, the military, and all this. You're
yeah,
going around like without awareness, and it's very
yeah. I mean, that's why I think there is a
destructive.
mantra. Like that's why there's a mantras are required. Like mantra, like no being can own another being in this multiverse.
Yeah.
Like that's like a mantra. Okay, it's required. People need to say this. People need to have make big banners of this. People need to put it out everywhere. You know, like it's a kind of a mantra which is required for all people. Like, you know, like it has to be like a sort of a mantra of sorts. Like, you know, that we no being can own another being in this multiverse. Okay, so it takes care of all kind of situations, whether you're dealing with animals or other humans or whatever kind of beings you deal with, like, you know. So like
And
it yeah, yeah,
by letting go also you ease the pain a lot lah. You ease the pain and the trauma lah. That's what I realized today by letting go more and more of these stuff, that realize that I don't own nothing. The only thing I own is my life, is life.
yeah,
I have life and I have to do something with it. I have to
yes,
honor it, but the rest around me,
yeah,
99% of the stuff outside of me do not matter.
yeah, 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 yeah,
That's what I've
yeah,
realized lah.
yeah. But that's the starting point for your heart, I would say. Like, so once one realizes that, then that's when the heart starts opening,
Yeah.
according to me. Like that's when the heart starts actually opening, when you actually understand this principle properly, not just hear it, but totally psychologically understand it. And to letting go of that on a psychological level can be a struggle for people, but they have to actually do this and sort of understand that in their consciousness, because consciousness understands it. You know, your consciousness totally understands it, but for your psychological level, your mind, everything, to understand it, you need to repeat that mantra, I would say, like to basically come to that. And if everybody is saying that, then it'll create an awareness of sorts, where a lot of things which happen in this society will not happen, and a lot of the trauma which people undergo will not be there. So then it's much more easier to love and be kind and be nice once all those things are not there, you know. Like, yeah,
And
yeah,
in the same time, what you do, you're ending that lonely life. Once you open your heart and connect with yourself, you don't feel lonely no more. Like I
yeah,
am alone most of the time, but I never feel lonely. Like
yes,
there's that feeling also that come up with all this, the
yeah,
feeling of loneliness and all that. It's gone. Like I'm feeling very connected, and it's not
yeah,
because I'm surrounded by a million people. I don't need that. I mean, I need myself. I need myself to be focused, centered, aligned with nature,
yeah.
create an alignment with nature. That's
Yeah, because I mean, multiverse is all energy, right? Okay, so once you connect to the energy as a whole, then you are not alone anyways. Or feeling of loneliness only comes when you separate yourself from that energy. So like you think you are something totally separate, and you don't have any connection to the energy there is outside, or all of that. So that's when the feeling of loneliness and everything comes from, you know, from that separation, from creating a cocoon around yourself in that way, which and then creating that disconnection in the first place. So when you establish the connection, then obviously the feeling is gone. Obviously, once the connection is established, it's automatically gone, so it's not something which like, because beings are just one aspect of that energy. That energy is more than the beings. It's there in the multiverse in all sorts of ways, and beings are just one of the ways that energy manifests itself. So
And I think
yeah,
that divine love is some kind of frequency, floating in the air or something. And I think
yeah,
to catch it, it's really to raise our antennas, like raise your antennas and catch the frequency. It's like a radio receiver. If
yeah,
you want to
yeah.
catch the frequency, you have to raise the antenna. So why don't we raise our antennas? Like, to me,
Yeah.
it's like
and
waking up, you're
and then also,
activating your awareness.
and then to catch the radio station properly, you need to have like no buzz and no hum and all of that kind of thing, which comes from the psychological work which I was talking about. So that when you catch the radio station, it's not just a buzz and hum and all of that coming from your instrument has to be clean and has to be right for the frequency to come through, like that has to be. Then that's where the diet comes in, your posture, your body, how you're taking care of yourself, and everything comes into that. Like, for that attunement requires everything to be going in the right way. You cannot have any of this radio thing happening if the system, the equipment is not working, like.
That's it.
So yes, so that obviously has to be taken care of, which I've been talking about in other previous that things talks with you, like about how to make sure that the body's which is your instrument, how that is working to its fullest potential, and it's like how it was meant to be, like. So that's an important point. Yeah.
And if that instrument is broken, the heart is broken. Most of us, it's the broken
Yeah,
heart, the broken
yeah,
like
yeah,
connection to our hearts, and
yeah, yeah,
because of fear, most of it. Sometimes most fear are unconscious. It's very programmed into us. Like
yeah,
that's what I've experienced. Because what fear did I had to do this? It's mostly the fear of what other people think of me, mostly, which is so nonsense. Today, I
yes,
realize it's so nonsense to be afraid of what people think of you. But that's what most people get stuck. It's at start, because that's
yeah,
where they freeze because of all kinds of fears and stuff. So
yeah.
liberating ourselves from the nonsense fears that we have is a must to elevate.
Yes, yes. Obviously, for that, like, it starts on the same level when you are young. Like, okay, when you are young and you are questioning, for example, like you are looking around and you're seeing, oh, what is this? Like, what is the sky? Or what is the sun? Or
Yeah.
what is this thing? Or what am I doing? Or like, what is all this around me? When you're very young, you are questioning these kind of things. Okay, like around you, like, okay, what is this tree? What is this? What is this? Like, who am I? What is? And at that time, obviously, what anyone thinks of you when you're thinking those things doesn't matter to you at that moment. Like, when you are actually in that kind of wave, like what other people might think of you does not matter to you. Okay, like only when you grow older and that thing, and you start having a thing called image. Okay, so if you come across as not knowing that what is this and that thing, you think that you will be somehow less than the others. Okay, you don't know what the sky is, but others know what the sky is. Like, okay, so then you have a problem. You think that, oh, like, oh, you know others know what sky is, but I know I'm the stupid one here. Okay, like, I'm the dumb one here. Okay, like, so then all of that presses on people's ego, and that's where they start taking the wrong turns. Then they start getting an image. No, I also know. I know that. I know what the sky is, or I know what the stars. I know what the sun is. I know what the, like, you start creating this image. When it's all about image rather than actual knowing, because the thing starts with inquiry, like a pure, like, simple inquiry in the beginning. Okay, then from there it transforms into just image rather than actual knowing or actual answers or actual clarity. It just transforms into this image thing, and people have to be really wary of that. That's another part of the psychological work, like we talked about. The psychological work needs to do, and that's another dimension to it. Like, that not caring about, like, for these things you are alone, and there's nothing you have to be worried about. How, like, if you have these questions that what people think of you, and people think of you as a dumb retard or whatever they might, like, that's fine. Like, I mean, but these questions are genuine and they're real, and one has to ask them. Like, there is no question of any image in that. regard. Like there's no, yeah,
Like we don't come here to boost our image. Obviously, it's a
yeah,
divine process. It's something. First of all, like we do this very natural together. We, like you showed up here 2 minutes before, bing bang, start. Like, let's go. Like it's
yeah,
very natural, and it has to be like that too. If you force things, if you like force, also enforce a personality or like I don't know. People are a lot about, and you can see the ego. You were talking about the ego because I think if we get to dissolve that ego within
yeah,
us, we gonna dissolve the overlay also because I think everything is pretty much sustained in that world because of our ego, because that prevents us from connecting really profoundly together is the ego. And
okay,
sometimes it stopped me from talking to people because I perceive a big ego, and like you
yeah,
see them with their big gold chain and the big like you know, the way they dress and the way they the sunglasses, and that pushed me off from
yes.
certain people. I don't even want to mix with that kind of vibe. Look, I know I should maybe,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the thing
but
is, like, it's not a question of mixing or not mixing. My question is, like, I think it's more like going like to the basic questions and basic things and like basic curiosity and the basic inquiry, spirit of inquiry a being has. Okay, if you're an actual being, if you really have a spirit, okay, because all beings on earth don't have a spirit. Okay, like if there are people who are walking like around like humans, they're like humans, they look like humans, but they don't have a spirit. Okay, a lot of beings don't have a spirit. Okay, people have to understand that first. Okay, so
that's
if a
what I
being,
feel really. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so if a being has actual spirit, okay, then that being will have a spirit of inquiry. That spirit will come out like a sense of inquiry, like, okay, like, and that spirit of inquiry will be like, who am I, what is all this, where am I, where am I, what is this plane, what is this thing, where am I, what is all this, who are all these people, all these questions will come to you if you have a spirit. If you actually have a spirit, you will have that spirit will come through inquiry. Okay, automatically it'll manifest itself as that. And once it is manifesting like that, after that, a lot of the psychological issues and the ego things which happen, you know, um, will be gone, especially if you don't pay attention to the education system. Because what the education system does is it takes your spirit of inquiry and it puts it and gives you strange answers for all these things. Okay, this is this, sky is blue because nitrogen is there. Okay, they give you these funny answers for your inquiry. And after that schooling system for 12 years or 13 years or 14 years, you feel like you know things. Okay, and that knowing creates a sense of ego. Okay, so what the school is doing nothing except increasing your ego. Okay, by giving you false answers which you think you know something now, and that's what creates your ego more. And then if you might come to know something else like in a university or something, then your ego is more. Then if you go become PhD or something, you have a doctor and your like you become a doctor and that thing, then you have even more ego, because now you are a doctor, now you're an expert. Okay, so all these things are basically there. All the education system, everything is there to boost your ego and to dim your sense of inquiry. Okay, so so that is the purpose of all of that. you know so
And
so yeah,
and
yeah,
it's probably like the same for the reverse. Like when you start dissolving the overlay within you, start dissolving the Babylon within you, you're gonna
yeah,
start dissolving your ego. Like it's not. I
yeah.
didn't press a button to say, okay, now it's time to let go of my ego. It's
No,
just
no,
happened
no.
naturally that I decided to let go. That I realized that it wasn't about me. It was about all of us. And it's
I mean,
not. I have nothing.
any being. I mean, if any being anytime wakes up and says, "Oh, look, I don't really know anything." Okay, if they just simply say that, okay, look, I
Yeah.
don't really know anything, and that ego will be gone automatically. Okay, then matter ends. Like it's not it'll be a fact and truth. It's like sticking to facts and truths. Okay, the more factual and truthful you are, and more honest you are about anything, the easier it is. Like for that, you have to be factual and truthful. Okay, do I really know what is happening in the sun? Do I really know what the sun is? And then if you like keep on being factual about it, you will find out that you don't. Okay, so once you don't, then the ego does not have any place to stay anyways. Like all you have to do is be factual and truthful about your actual knowledge, like. So yeah,
And
yeah,
also let some quality questions come to you. Like if your kind of question in your everyday life is to know what's on TV at this time or this time, that's not
yeah,
a quality question. But when you look at the sun and ask yourself, what is the sun? What are the
Yeah.
stars? What is the sea, the water? What are
Yeah.
people around me? Why? These are quality questions, but
No, these are spirit questions. What you call quality questions, I call them spirit questions. If you
yeah,
actually have a spirit,
that's
if
it.
you have actually have a spirit, then you will have those questions. If you don't have a spirit, then your questions will be just, okay, what is on TV, or what was that program, or
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
going to come in that the soap next day or next morning or next episode, or
You're gonna
which
focus on this.
which team is going to be playing which team, and what is that thing, and that's all. Like, like, that's not question. Like, that's nothing. Like, that's not an inquiry. Inquiry has to be about actual real things, and a spirit has inquiry about those real things automatically. So
And
that's, yeah, yeah,
especially about nature. Especially
yeah,
about nature. That's one thing I wanted to talk to you about is
yeah,
being very, very observant when you're outside in nature, even when you're in your house. Like, be observant. Like, you have a window. Just having a window, it's an opportunity to grow. You can grow food on your window, but in your life, you can make sense of, why do I have a window in my house? Or maybe I can grow. Or maybe if you have a window opportunity in your life, you can grow. Like, look at the fire, make sense of it. If you uh, put too much stuff on the fire, it's gonna stop. It's gonna stop
yes,
burning. It's gonna stop
yes,
having this life. So you do the same with yourself. If you keep putting down your fire and stuff, you're never gonna have a big, big, big fire inside of you and shine.
yeah.
So
So
I think
what?
being
Yeah,
observant in nature is a must. Also, I've never look. I've been roaming here for, like, it's gonna be like 45 years now in their Babylonian
yeah,
nonsense calendar. That's
yeah,
another thing I want to bring you about, the 13 months calendar, and there's some kind of time reference. But anyway, we'll get to that. But
yeah,
45 something years in their nonsense stuff. And I'm telling you, I feel still today. I wake up each and every day, and I feel brand new because I've let go of the stuff. But I've been like 40 years, like, having no questioning, nothing. So
yeah,
but I give thanks also for those experiences, because I think it's kind of necessary. Like I say, if you're in the dark at night on the road, that's another thing. Being observant in nature. If you go in the dark and you don't put your light on, you won't see the road signs. So when you're in the dark, put up your light, and you're gonna see the sign, and they're much visible in the dark
yes,
when
yes.
you have the
So
light on. So being observant in nature.
that's what, when you're talking about observant nature,
Yeah.
what all it leads to, like when you gave the fire example or the other examples, is common sense. Okay.
It's not
what
common practice. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. What it actually increases in you is your sense, common sense. Okay. Like, if you're totally disconnected from nature, and if you're not observant, if you're not that thing, then what will you lose? You will lose your common sense. I mean, that's exactly the thing which so you will not know how things function in this multiverse. Like, what is the order of things, what is the things, like how things actually work, and that thing, so you lose that sense of, and which in the current society and stuff, like people who are disconnected, they don't have that sense. Okay. So like, they lose out on the common sense. And then if you try to tackle any subject or any topic, like we said, topic, you know like if you tackle any topic, then you cannot tackle it because you don't have the common sense in the first place to deal with anything. So there's no question of doing anything, or in that, or resolving anything and figuring anything out, or anything possible without that. So that's like a basic tool which you require to do that. Like, okay, like for example, like, and then, like, to get to that kind of conclusions, that no being can own another being in this multiverse, then for that you need a lot of common sense, actually. A lot of it, no, not just tiny bit of it. Like, you need a lot of it to actually figure that out, like that is the case, that under no circumstance does that happen, that one can own, like, like, even if people think that they're owning some bodies, they can put them in jail, but you still don't own that being. Okay. Like, I mean, like, it's not possible to actually that thing. So all of that has to be understood in a commonsensical kind of way only. Like, and if you're not developing even basic common sense about anything, then
And
obviously you are in trouble in that kind of way. And like, what I'm saying is, the kind of things which are there in you, like the spirit of inquiry, it's before the Babylonian this thing and all of this programming, that is there before. You can reignite it at any age. It's a case of reignition. It's not ignition, it's reignition. Okay. Okay. So it's but that's not the thing. Like, but it is there in you beforehand, like, It's just been covered with all that nonsense on top. And then after that all nonsense, you feel like lost and strange at some point. Then it'll reignite again, you know. But it is there already. Like, if you have a spirit, you will have a spirit of inquiry. It's as simple as that, you know. It's And from there on, everything else will take forward and go forward. Like, yeah.
And sometimes, we hold on so much to material and stuff that we can
Yeah.
even put our own life on the line. Also, I was listening to watching something about the volcano in Hawaii, and there's a man that was staying there on site, like to protect two houses and stuff, and he got a lava bomb on his leg, and now he's injured, and this just to protect two houses. Like, you can't against nature, like, against come on, a volcano. I would
Yes.
go, and there's a lady had a big house and all kinds of ornaments inside and knickknacks all over the place. And she says, they were asking her, "Are you bringing anything?" She said, "No, it's just stuff. I'm leaving." Like, she let go very easily of all her stuff behind. But some people hold on so tight that it belonged to. Like, come on.
Yeah. And that is not a spirit thing to do, like attachment with things and stuff, you know. It's not a spirit thing to do. Like, spirit will automatically understand these are just things, you know. Like, I was born, I'm gonna die, and I'm gonna leave these things behind. Okay, there's nothing in this. Like, I never owned it in the first place, and I'm not going to be taking it with me upon death. Okay, so that also, like, little bit of sense is required just to, like, make that kind of reasoning, you know. Like, okay, like, I'm not going to take these things with me, so they're not mine. Okay, so I mean, that's just a little bit of reasoning, not much, but little bit of reasoning, and people have to do that. So if they do that, then they can get over this kind of thing, you know. But for that also, like, you need to have a little bit of common sense, like, functioning in that kind of way. Like, you know, people, like, most people don't even think of death or something, like, mostly, like, because they think that that will spoil a lot of their structure or whatever nonsense they're trying to create. So they are trying to live life in a way where death is never going to happen. Okay, even though it's a reality, but they always live like that. Okay, so when they live like that, then they definitely are not living in reality, for sure. And once you're not living in reality, then all kinds of nonsense will happen. Like, then you will act in insane manner, like different kind of insanity, you know. Like, you just mentioned the examples and whatever. The, like, insanity will manifest itself in various ways, and that you see all around the world is that insane theater and insane insanity all around, like, which is just there for anyone to see. Like, these days it's very easy, like, it's everywhere you look, it is there, like, you know. So yeah.
And also, it's very like, especially we're talking about the love in between a husband and wife. That's what I tell my wife often. I said, "Come on, it's conditional. This love. If I do something to hurt you, I'm out the door. So it's not genuine love. So what are we exactly doing? Like, is it just a sex slave trade that we have made together? Like, what is this?" I'm very objective. I talk about it. I don't hold back, because I know it's programming and this. And if I would have to go back, I would not do it again. I would probably, I don't know if I would marry or something. I don't know. Today, in this state of mind, in this awareness,
marriage is a very, again, it's a concept, it's a notion. Okay.
It's a notion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a concept. It's not.
Okay,
it's
but
not,
why do we all fall for it? Like, almost.
Because the word is there. Okay, words are powerful for people. Okay, once the concept is there, like, there's a word called marriage. Okay, like, now there's a term like marriage. Okay, now people come to know this term. Okay, then people come to know, oh, people marry. Okay, like, it's something which happens. It's a ceremony. The people go there, and other people are there to watch them. You know, like, you know, like, it's like a sort of a social occasion or something like that. You know, like, it's more all these things people get in their heads. You know, like, and then it's like all these notions. It's like programs which people try to construct in their lives. Just because they see, it's like monkey see, monkey do. You know, like,
it's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. Like, you seen the royal wedding also, like they say it's a modern fairy tale, and it's so nonsense. People, you know. Anyway.
I mean, it's not any kind of tale. I mean, it's the thing is, I mean, everybody in these things right now has their own agendas, that things and everything. Like, you know, it's nothing to do with any kind of fairy tale of any kind. Like, you know, it is just a concept which has been put there so that people can fight with each other, basically, in trying to control each other. Okay, now two beings which are put together like that, they will basically struggle and fight each other for control, and they'll spend all of their time and energy and their life force in that struggle and that fight. Okay, and that's what that suits the people who are in charge and control, who have to control the that thing. It suits them fine, like that kind of thing, so
And
that
I
they will not ask. Yeah, yeah. So like, oh, so what does marriage mean? Oh, if you married, then after that you don't need to ask any questions. Okay, like everything is solved then. Okay, like no, like now whatever this, where you are, nothing matters. Only thing which matters is like dealing with this, but one particular being in a certain kind of way, and having this battle for control, basically. So that's that. And anyways, in the Vedic tradition, like with the Vedic things and stuff, in that the thing was like a female chose always, like it was choice of the female to choose. And if the female thought like that it's not working out for her, whatever, then she could leave anytime. Obviously there's no divorce or anything like that, and that's it. Like, so it was a simple thing, like nobody in that case, like if something is happening by free choice and a person is free to leave, and any being is free to leave, and nobody's trying to like hold each other or cling on to each other or like control each other, then that's a different thing completely. you know then it's a totally different. But that is not just a male female, that can be between any beings anytime. It's nothing to do with gender per se. But it is like between any two beings anytime, that kind of thing can be there. And it doesn't have to be and especially when it comes to the female male thing, then the female has to have the choice. you know and so because they are the ones who decide that kind of thing. So it is up to them, so because they are the receptive energy. So like, and like the modern society and this whole marriage concept of marriage is a very strange thing. It's a very strange concept. Like, it's part of the.
And
Yeah.
not only that, I don't think 1,000 years ago, they were keeping record on paper of everybody that got married, and it was like it wasn't. I don't think a woman would show up with the white dress and all the fairy tale. Like it's so.
So
We
yes,
love
so
fakery so much. We have come to love fakery so much, and the nonsense that we don't even perceive it no more.
yeah, because again, why? Lack of common sense. Lack of
Yeah,
common sense. And common sense means disconnection with nature and the elements.
yeah.
Okay, disconnection with nature and elements, and you lose common sense, then all things start appearing real to you. Like all this appears, all these notions, strange things start appearing real to you. Like, and then, but afterwards, it's always that thing, the fighting and this and that thing, because beings are finally beings, and they don't uh, have this kind of actual sense of dealing with another being. Because first you have to know why you're dealing with another being for. Okay, if you're dealing with another being for your own evolution and their evolution and everything, then that's a different kind of dealing. Okay, you have to have it clear why you are dealing with another being in the first place. There has to be some sort of clarity on that point. Like, you can't just deal without any kind of clarity, like about the whole thing. It's because, and that's when complications happen, struggles happen, and more like all this drama and fighting ensues. And yeah,
And
so yeah,
often, what happens when people like
yeah,
are married and stuff like me, and one of them start to raise their awareness and start to have quality questions or spirit questions or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that, and the other one will not always follow in the same path, and it's like it's your decision. Like at one point, I needed to know it's not
yeah,
my wife, but my wife.
yeah,
Kim's
yeah, yeah,
decision, and I prefer to call her by her name, not
yeah,
to say my wife, but Kim's
yeah,
decision to
yeah,
go along with this. So sometimes like I I admit it, I have to kind of so shift or keep the conversation to a certain
yeah.
topic, or like I can't go too deep because it's not stuff that really interests her. So
Yeah.
you have
So
to
like,
find a
so
balance,
like
I think,
that's
because I don't
what
want to
happens.
let go of
Yeah,
all
yeah.
my
It's not a
life
question of
because
just not a question of your particular your. What I'm saying is, a lot of people are together right now in that kind of way where they have divergent paths, or they're going on divergent ways. Okay, but they're still having to stay together. Now that creates a lot of tension. Like, like you have a rubber band. You can stretch it both ways. and after a while that rubber band will break. Like it is like that. But it's like just like a rubber band, and you just, if you stretch it both ways, it'll break. So like if beings are going in totally divergent kind of ways, they cannot be together. I mean, that's just natural. Okay, like this doesn't require a like a psychiatry or a psychological degree or like a that thing to understand that. Like it's a very simple thing. So I mean, it's just a thing, like where, like if you're like the whole concept of family, even the word family means like beings who are going in the same direction in their
Yeah.
evolution. And yeah,
It has
so
to do
that's
with
what
slave or something too, eh?
yeah,
Family,
yeah,
the word
that's what
family. Eh?
that's what the word family meant. Like if like a whole bunch of beings who are evolving together in a certain way together, and that thing, and that's a family. But right now, family is something else. Family is just a more economic unit. It's a socio-economic unit rather than anything to do with any higher goal or evolution or anything like that. So that's what. And then yeah, you're saying something.
That's why I like to call family the people that I relate, that are elevating at the same time as I'm elevating. Like I come here, to me,
Yeah,
you're family. To me, you're
yeah,
family, and you're true
yeah,
family because
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
you more of a brother than my own sister that I don't talk. She doesn't even bother. I haven't
yeah,
talked to her for
yeah,
years.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
so what
yeah.
is this notion of family really
Yeah, yeah,
is?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's just like in the ancient times, like from ancient Vedic perspective, ancient times, only beings which had a similar sort of way they were going to evolve together, and which were they concerned about, that was considered family. Like, it was nothing to do with whom you're born with, like who are your blood relations. It's nothing to do with blood. Okay. So like first, like right, they made it about blood. After blood, they made it about economics or social stuff, like which is like marriage and all of that, which is not blood, which you're marrying somebody else. But then it's about economic thing on the socio-economic thing. It's nothing to do with actual like evolution or things like that. Like no people are saying like oh, are we getting together for evolution or not? Like nobody's making vows like that. you know I mean, even the like, or they tell each other like, oh no, I'm going to be yours forever, you're going to be mine, and all of that. Like they again like are saying these things which are of owning the ownership. That's the only vows which are taken of ownership. There's no other kind of
it's a vows
it,
of ownership. That's what it
yeah,
is. Then
yes, yes,
it's
yes,
so
yes,
crazy.
yeah. I'll own you, you'll own me, like, and all of that. Like that's
Oh wow.
it's a very, very strange kind of thing. Like, but yeah, but obviously one people have to get above these kind of conditionings and that thing, and more they connect with nature, obviously they will be able to get rid of these conditionings. And and I find that there's some people who have gotten above these conditionings now. There are many, many more people right now who are getting above these kind of conditionings, say, than last 20 years ago. But yeah, so there is definitely yeah,
Again, we look outside of ourselves for ownership. Like we want to own other people. We want to own things when we don't even take ownership for our life.
yes,
That's
yeah,
the ownership we should have, is for our life. But no,
yes.
again, it's exterior. It's like fake space. It's like everything we seems to look outside of ourselves when
No, because
turn this around.
that's what another common sense is missing, is because people don't take ownership of their own body, right? Which is your own. It is for you to operate your instrument, like which I said, your instrument. Like if you don't take ownership of that and take control of that, then you are sending a very wrong message to the multiverse in the first place. Look, I'm not gonna like I'm gonna do whatever with this, and I'm gonna be undisciplined. I'm gonna be this thing, and I'm gonna be that thing, and I'm just gonna be asking things from the outside, or looking things from the outside. So that's a wrong message, and that is a devolving path. There's an evolving path, and there is a devolving path, and that is the devolving path. And a lot of people are on that path of evolution. And obviously, if you take ownership of your own body and your own that thing, then you'll be quite busy. And you'll not have the time to be trying to own other people, or, or
No,
like
no.
yeah. So that'll make you busy enough, like to not like have those kind of uh, things in the first place. So
The
that's yeah,
the
yeah,
moment you go in through your journey interiorly, you go inside and you start traveling the internal more than go external. You realize that that's it. You don't. What's like it's inside. What I have to shine here is what I have inside, not what's outside. What's outside is very relevant. Even my appearance, all this is very relevant. It's what I have inside. What I when I open my mouth, what's coming out.
Yes. And this whole concept right now of beings, like when people understand the word being first, okay, that there is a beings, everyone is a being, then in the ancient times people understood that the beings are at different levels. Okay, not all beings are the same or at the same level. Okay, so that's a very important concept for where everything has to be equal, but nothing is equal. Okay, every beings are on a very different level or different level of being. Okay, so people understood that the behavior between beings was dependent on the level those beings are at. Okay, so that was an important point, like, because everybody out here thinks every being is the same. No, it's not the same. Like, some beings have spirit, like spirit also is at different levels of coherence. Some beings have such level of coherence that the spirit is equal to a sun. Then sun means that is soul, that they have a soul. Then there are beings which have more coherence than the sun even, so those beings are beyond the sun. Okay, so they are like at totally different level. Okay, so there are beings which are at different level. Okay, as long as you don't come to this basic fact and truth and reality, you will have problems, because you won't know how to deal with any being. Depending on the level, you don't even know what level you're dealing with. You've got no idea. You just think like everything is the same. Okay, but it is not. Okay, and that creates a whole lot of problems. And I find that in this society, in this Babylonian matrix, they have created a whole sense, okay, where beings are not like sort of classified on their level of being. Okay, they're classified on other ways. Okay, this person has got this much money, or this person has got that much money or not, or this person is famous, this is a celebrity, this is not a celebrity. Okay, or this person has got this degree from this institute, or this person. They still classify beings in this Babylonian system, but on different parameters, not on their level of being. Their parameters are very different, and society goes by those parameters. Okay, and that's where the whole problem starts again. Then being to being interaction cannot happen properly until you know whom you're dealing with. Okay, and that you have to know, like, okay, like when you deal with a dog or a lion or an elephant or a giraffe, you can't deal with them all the same, right? Okay.
That's it. You're not gonna deal the same in front of a lion and a dog. I bet
Yes.
you anything on this.
Yes,
Try
yes.
it. Try it.
Yes.
So there is, hold on, PT. So there is cats and dogs in Babylon considered as people. I just make an analogy, and I don't consider even that. I would be honored to be compared to a lion or any animal, because they have more conscience than us. So.
Yeah, but beings. What I'm saying is, beings are not the same. Okay, like from us, like even from any being. Okay, they're not at the same. Like what I wanted to,
exactly.
And you got the point. My point is, like, even in human beings, all human beings are not the same level. Just because you're a human being, that doesn't mean you are at the same level. Okay, no beings are at the same level anywhere in this whole multiverse. Okay, forget about Earth. I'm talking about any other plane, before, above, below, everywhere. Like it's. Yeah.
Like here, people are very aware that we are two lions. We're not mices. We're not mouse. I have a heart of a lion, and I express it. That's what I want. And this is showing in what we do. The way you can come to me, I'm a lion. This guy is a lion. This lion heart. But when you see people shrinking from their greatness and really not expressing any divinity, you see them that they have a heart of a lion, but they live as mice. Why?
Yeah, but the point is, again, there's a whole confusion between beings. Beings don't understand the level of beings. Okay, like, because for that you need common sense again, which we come to the same part. Common sense. Common sense allows you to see what a being is in nature also. Like it tells you like what like a thunderstorm is, or lightning is, or something is that, or what is what in nature, or a simple cloud, or a that thing cloud. Everything is like people. From that, you get a common sense of like I said, like, you don't treat each animal being the same. Okay, like from a snake to like you don't do that. Yeah. So same, you can't treat any human being the same too. Just because look, because the point is that every being is at a different level, and in the levels which are there in the beings is much more different than lion and snake or mice or any of these things. These levels are much more different. Like these are like real energy and power and things, stuff like that, which like there are beings called rishis and stuff who can create whole earths. Like,
It's like
okay,
a shark.
okay, and yeah, and then there are beings who cannot even create one tree. Like, okay, so I mean, there's a huge difference in levels of being in this multiverse. Okay, the closer one understands that, the faster one understands that, the better it is for one. So like, so if you come in across such a being who has that much power and coherence and that energy, you can't deal with them like your buddy or your that thing or your that thing, or how you deal with any other being. You cannot. If you do that, you will be in trouble. Okay, and there's no education for that, because there's no education for how to deal with beings of varying levels of beings or different levels of beings. That's not what it's taught at school. Okay,
No, no, no.
so yeah. So that's where the word behavior comes in. Okay, there's a term called behavior. Okay, so behavior has to be as per the being. When any two beings deal with, then they'll have a certain behavior with each other. Okay, now that behavior will depend on what this being is and what that being is. Okay, in any interaction between any two beings, the word behavior will come into it. And what should the behavior be? I mean, that's the whole point. Like, for example, people think they go to heaven or like that kind of realm right now. A lot of people, that they think that something's going to happen, then some event, and suddenly they're going to be catapulted into heaven from earth. But the thing is that they don't realize that they don't have the behavior to be in heaven. Because if you go to heaven, then you have to have the right behavior and the right body language and the right courtesies, the right everything to be there. You will not last half an hour out there. So yeah.
I personally think you can
Yeah.
find heaven on earth if you are in that state of mind. You can find
Yeah.
heaven. To me, heaven is a
Obviously,
place on earth.
you
It
know,
can
you
be
you will
anywhere else.
but you have to have the heavenly thing on earth first before you go to heaven afterwards. Like, like, eh,
Yeah,
obviously it's not
that's
it's
what
not
I
like,
want. Yeah, sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So obviously people don't understand that. They think that death is somehow going to change everything. Once you come out of this physical body, then everything will be different. Okay, and then you can just do the thing and you can take a leap into higher dimensions and things like that without having done any kind of psychological work here, or any behavioral work, or any understanding properly while being in the body. So that's a misconception a lot of people are having, on like, which you can see in a lot of YouTube things around the world right now. You can see that people have a wrong thinking about that. Your awareness and consciousness, you have to increase while being in the body to be able to do that once you leave your physical body, to go into higher realms or do anything like that. So
I
yeah.
think there's got to be something. I don't know. I today I'm here on earth. I want to do something with my life. Really honor my life. Give thanks for life. But it's kind of hard to seize the idea that to wrap my head around the fact that I would after that just die and nothing happened. Like, I don't know, I have this idea that of a living soul. First of all, really create a living soul on earth. I think this is what will probably lead us to a true salvation. I wanted to talk to you about that, how to create a true salvation, so that you leave behind a living soul, like many people have done. They're gone, but we still remember them very much in our hearts, because they have created that living soul. So this is what tells me that maybe you will not, like, is it reincarnation? I marked it here somewhere. Reincarnation or light beings? Like, do we
Yeah.
come back, or we end up in the sky as a star?
Yeah, the thing is,
That comes to my head often, because I look around and I see a whole bunch of stars shining their light in the sky
yeah,
at
yeah.
night. I don't know. It's something I think
I mean,
about, but
those can be called as angelic realms. Okay, the angelic realm. Okay, but what the mostly the people like who have spirit, and they don't, when they are put it back into the reincarnation cycle, what you call the reincarnation cycle, they take another birth, and they take another birth, they take another birth, because all these things which we talked about have not been worked out. All the psychological issues have not been worked out. All the knowing has not been worked out. All the consciousness has not been worked out, so that you are ready for more different kind of experience. Like, it depends on like whether you are ready for another kind of experience, even on earth also. Like, things, there's a whole concept of like birth, then disease, and then old age and death, okay, which are considered like negative things. Obviously, like nobody likes disease. you know People don't want to experience old age in that kind of way, and obviously beings don't want death. Okay, so all these things are negative things, okay, all these particular things which are on earth plane, okay. And they are also much more stronger now, like in this time. Like for example, earlier times on earth, people used to live for 1,000 years. There were times when earth people used to live for 10,000 years, okay. Okay, so then lifespan was long. Like lifespan, now techno lifespan is around 90. Okay, so basically 90, 100 sort of thing. So the lifespan is very short. Okay, okay, and then on top of that, you have a lot of diseases in between. Okay,
You'll
and
experience pain along the way.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of disease. I mean, obviously nobody wants disease. I mean, if you give an option to a person, they'll say no, I don't want it. Like, like if there's an option. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the point is that, like, there's disease, then there is old age, and then there's a very short lifespan. So things are very concentrated, and that thing. So the whole experience is very, very, let's say, it's not so pleasant. Okay, so let's put it in this kind of way. Okay, so if it's not pleasant like that, and for a spirit, that'll be not a good thing for a spirit. Like, they don't want this kind of situation. Okay, so like, they'll always want to break out of this kind of situation. Okay, like that, this is not fun for me, like this is not like vibing well with me, this experience, whatever like kind of stuff you are in, this is not the right thing for me. So then they'll try and find a way out of this. Okay, and into a realm where there is no disease, no pain, no that thing, no old age, no death. You are creator of your own that thing and stuff like that. But for that, you have to work. you know you have a very short time here, and in that short time, with all these let's say hassles, problems, all these things on you, all this pressure on you, you have to work. You have to show that you can do it to get to that stage. It's not going to happen from escapism. That's why a lot of people turn to drugs, and a lot of people are expecting some sort of event to happen, or like some ray of light to just take them away. There's an escapism thing which comes from being in a bad situation. And I'm agreeing with them, like, okay, this is a bad situation. I'm not saying that this is not a bad situation. you know it is a bad situation, but from a bad situation, to improve that situation for yourself, for your being, you have to work. You have to do the work. You have to put in the work. You cannot just be escapist and hope for something to happen for you, but done by someone else. Okay, so that is where the whole thing stands right now. Okay, a lot of people are understanding actually that this is a problem out here. Like, this is not a way life is supposed to be. Like, where you're supposed to just live 90 years and full of diseases and this and that, and then old age and that thing. It takes you 15, 20 years to just gain consciousness. Then by the time you gain consciousness or something, you're already like getting old, and when you're getting old, then you're dying. Okay, like what I'm saying is, it's not a cool situation for like this kind of thing. So it's a tough game. Like, if this was a computer game, this will be like very high level of difficulty. you know like, this
It's
is
a
what
tough
it is.
game.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
we don't come
yeah,
to master it, we
yeah,
will end
yeah,
up depressed,
yeah, yeah,
just stressed
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. That's all. This is the thing. So, like, okay, it's good to understand that this is what the situation is. You're still facing the facts. Okay, but after facing the facts, you have to decide, okay, I have to do work. Okay, and that's the whole thing. Like people should be ready to work for what they want. Okay, if you want out of that, if you want better that thing living, if you want better that thing, in multiverse will give you that. It's not like that those things options are not available in this multiverse. All these options are available in this multiverse. I mean, even on earth, at one time people were living for 10,000 years. I told you, like, even on this plane. Okay, so it's not that these options are not available, but one has to actually like figure that out and work that out. Like, so it's that work which people shy away from. That's why it's more about wishing. People wish things and hope for things and wish for things rather than actually do something for something. you know so yeah, so that's what taking responsibility for your own actions and for your own self. And when you start doing that, then like automatically other things, you stop trying to own others, and disturb others and and this kind of thing anyways, like,
And
yeah,
you start carrying your cross at one point. That's what it is. The Jesus representation of carrying a cross. That's what
yeah,
we have to carry. It's our load.
yeah,
It's our.
yeah,
It's
yeah, but
yeah, it's a heavy load. It's a heavy load, but it's
yeah, it's
carryable.
but the point, the point is like to not get depressed. Point is to get actually, like, for example, even if a being is in sort of like pain, torture, hell, like you can call it hell, okay. So like then they realize, okay, now I have to do something about it. Hell means pressure. Hell basically means pressure. Now if you're under pressure, then you have to do something about it now. So it can put a fire into you to do something about it, and to make a like a lift from there, from that level into a higher level. It's that pressure which it creates will give you that sense that I have to do that work to now move out of it, because if I don't, then I'll face all this pain and torture and that thing, and no one wants to face that, so like so automatically the upliftment happens, what we call upliftment,
Uh,
like, because you are ready to do whatever is necessary. Basically, you are ready to do whatever is necessary to get out of the situation, okay. And
I,
when a being gets to that level, when they are ready to do whatever is necessary, then they are open. Then they're open to inputs, they're open to suggestions, they're open to that thing. They're already automatically open. You don't need to create any opening for them, like, they are automatically receptive to, like, like, so yeah. So if you talk to them, oh, like, so do you want to get out of here, they'll say, yeah, I want to know, like, I want to know, I've had enough, like, you know, so
yeah,
that that's yeah,
I
yeah,
refer to that
yeah,
as a evolutionary pressure that you have to put
yeah,
on yourself, because if you don't, no one will come and put it on you. You have to put that evolutionary pressure on you to want to
yeah,
expand, to grow, and to move out your baby state, because I think we're all pretty much still
yeah,
infant, very much in our baby state.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
it's good to be in a baby state. Like I feel life very mysterious, but also at one
yeah.
point you got to take ownership,
I mean,
responsibility
but
for your life, and all this stuff. And it's not because we're gonna change the world together, but at least we can inspire many, many people just to get in touch with their art. And if they get in touch with their art, with
yeah,
the stuff inside, we're in touch together.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
but
all we need.
in today's world, what I find that it's very easy to get that sense of pressure, okay, because life is so tough for people, and the way the
Oh
whole
yeah,
thing is, so when life is so tough for you, like, it's not so hard to get that sense of pressure, like, people are so disenchanted with their lives and the way their system is, the jobs they have to do, the everything, the life they live, the kind of food they get to eat, the kind of way pressures are there everywhere. You're filling forms, you're feeling this, you just have, your life is one constant struggle, like, completely, like, for most people. And so with that much pressure, if you don't get that sense, like, it'll be very hard to get that sense in other times when things are better and
yeah,
life is
exactly.
easier. And like, I mean, if it can't happen right now, I mean, I don't see it happening in any other kind of times which are like, so it is more of a situation right now where it is more, that's why I call it a good times, these times, even though there's so much like nonsense and madness and insanity around, but there's so much pressure on the real spirit beings, the real ones who have spirit actually, to evolve and to get out of that kind of thing, and to go further and go evolve more and get out of this game and master this game, and like, get past it. So there's pressure on, so which is a good thing, which is not a bad thing at all, you know that they have this pressure. So point is how you respond to this pressure and how you take responsibility, and you have to stay practical and focused and clear and all of that, not to get into all any kind of escapism, you know and
And that
and a lot of escape. Yeah, yeah,
And that
yeah,
evolutionary pressure that you
yeah,
put on you, you
yeah,
automatically transfer it to the world. I mean, this is
yeah,
what's going to happen at one point. This
yeah,
earth is going to know a different vibe, and that's all of us together. Because I don't think
yeah,
the great organizing design, call it God or the divine, or will come and like hit the reset button for us. I think it's up to us. There
yes,
could be many stuff refer as to like right now we see the volcanoes in Hawaii
yeah,
erupting continuously. There's big volcanoes that could Yellowstone. Now they talk about, they propagate a lot of fear
I mean,
associated with
the
a
thing is,
reset button that would come from the external, from the
but
outside.
even
Like,
but the point is, there's no reset in that. Even I'll explain to you in this way. Like, okay, like if there's a destruction and like everything dies on earth, even like
yeah,
let's say if it finishes, like okay, then the spirits are still there, they'll be alive, okay, and then the spirits will have to go to some plane to live, okay. If they're not living here on earth, then they have to live somewhere else, like so they'll be put into places where they can grow on the basis of what the level they are at. They might not be at a level right now necessary to be on earth. Like a lot of beings are not at the level where they can live in harmony on earth, or like not non-destructively, let's say, on earth, and which they can sort of honor the environment, honor earth, and honor everything properly. Then they have to learn the lesson somewhere else. That lessons will not necessarily be learned on earth. Then if they're not learned on earth, then they'll be learned somewhere else. So like for all beings, this plane is not necessary to evolve in that way, like, because to be on earth means you have to have some basic kind of level means like you have to be able to honor earth and its environment and everything, and nature and everything. You have to have that basic level, to be here. And if you don't have that, then obviously there'll be forces which will take care of the fact that you are not here. Okay.
yeah.
I mean, you can't force your way here unnecessarily without, like, so that's where the divine intervention, or whatever people call the higher intervention, comes in that kind of way. But in that way also, like, finally you are in again in some other world or some other realms. People can call it hell, or people can get lower realms, or whatever you want to call it, where you learn your lessons until you get to that point where you are able to do the right thing at the right place, and honor the place you are at, like, so, like, the
And
opportunity.
also,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
discover how powerful you are. The powers inside of you is very important. Like, I that that he who conquers himself is mighty. It's not conquering other, but we must conquer ourselves. We must conquer the demons inside and all the nonsense that is there programmed from Babylon. In my case, I live in Canada. It's Babylon
yeah,
big time here.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I've
yeah,
been
no,
programmed very severely into a very selfish way of living, and I have to let go of this. I realize it. I see it. I look around me. It's very sometimes
yeah.
traumatizing. So I have to also find some kind of balance to navigate in Babylon. It's very important, I think.
Yes, obviously, for that, obviously, like, if a being is honest about with themselves, the what the power actually is honesty. Actually, the the more honesty you show with yourself, even whatever your spirit level might be not so strong, or whatever, it might be weak, or it might be the littlest spark, or whatever, or it's a very huge spark, or whatever, that does not matter. How big or small that is, that's not the point is being honest about your current state, and that honesty gives you the strength to move forward, okay, and improve that and increase that. So people don't have to feel powerful or not big or small, or people have to actually know their exactness, what they are at exact level. For that requires honesty. From that honesty, you can always go up. When you're honest about something, from that point you're only going up. You're not going to go down from there, like, because you have gotten to the exact crux of the thing, and you've gone to the exact level of the thing, and then you're ready to work, because honesty creates that sense of ethic, or work ethic, what I call a work ethic, where you will automatically have a work ethic from that point, for going up, which is what is required. So, or that is what the power is, that sense of honesty, and then sense of work ethic,
And
and that. Yeah,
that sense of
yeah,
clarity also,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
clear what you have to do here. What,
yeah,
like, I know why I came here today. I know, but I knew younger too, but I don't know. I just like put something on it and just forgot about it with the world that's programming me, and I forgot about the duty to shine, because I think that's what I mark in the title, shining love, light, and hope for a better world, shining hope, whatever I mark
yeah,
first.
yeah,
But
yeah,
this is really what we must do. I think it's really shining that hope for a better world, that
yeah,
light, that love. But again, it's big.
yeah, but
It's
like,
talking about big stuff here.
but
I'm not, hold on,
if,
PT. I'm not saying that I have reached that point. I don't want people to think that I'm pretentious and I'm shining a beacon of, no, but I know this is where we have to go as a whole, really shine that love and light and hope and for a better world. So I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah, that's why, like, I find in this kind of thing, what is happening right now, there's a lot of songs and stuff which come on the mainstream media and stuff, like, like, baby, you're a firework, baby, you can do this, you can do that, and all of that, which actually beings can't do actually. So that is also a wrong thing when you put all that pressure on a being which is not at that level or that being, and you say like you are that, then that's being dishonest, like, and that dishonesty never takes you any further, like, because then you think you are that and you're not that, but then you think that, and then it creates a whole lot of problem for you, like, rather than actually like creating any kind of evolution, or like, and that takes away from the work ethic. And that's why the mainstream media is always making songs like that and promoting that onto the masses and the public, like, where they want people to think that they are great and they are this and that thing, when they actually are not. So they would obviously want you to think you are really great, okay, when you are not, like, okay, that's how you stay in the prison, okay. Because you have to feel
That's
so
very
great.
good what you're saying there.
Yeah, you have to feel really great. Oh, I'm great, like, okay, everything's great and that thing and stuff like that, okay, but the reality is something else, and they don't want you to
Yeah.
face the reality, like, so that's how they keep people down. So that's their, that can be used in that kind of way, so people have to be really honest about their state of being within themselves, to themselves, not what anybody else is saying or anything, like, within their own being they have to come to realize that. And connecting with nature is very good, because that gives you common sense. Once you get the common sense, then you can find out the exact, like, in nature, like, a deer knows what is a deer, a snake knows is a snake, and a lion knows is a lion, and everybody knows what they are, okay, like, like, so in the same way, with the common sense and stuff, you come to know your being, and that thing, your level of being, and what you need to work on, what you do, what you don't have, like, what you, that thing, what is your problems, what is your that thing, what is your, so you get a work ethic, you know rather than like actual, like, you're ready to do the work after that point, rather than just being in a, like a, like a la la land of, you know
You become
where,
more disciplined, and discipline
yeah,
sounds like disciple. It's a word
yeah,
that sounds like disciple a lot, but
yeah.
this is what we must have discipline into this.
Obviously, I mean, that's how beings learn from beings. Like, there were beings which were very high, on very high level, and then these beings learn from those beings of how to
Yeah,
reach that kind of level. So, and that takes discipline to to reach that level. Okay, so discipline is a very important word. Like, I mean, right now people don't like it, but it is an important word, and you can't get anywhere in this multiverse without discipline. It's a fact. The quicker you learn that fact, the better it is for anyone. And
and
yeah, like, yeah.
also
So
being true to yourself, which is what it is. It's being true to the fire inside of you.
yeah,
You will
yeah,
feel much better with life, much lighter. Like, you're not so stressed out, you're not so
yeah,
anxious, you're more in the moment. It's a very good healing process
yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah, to heal the trauma, because that's what I'm doing here. I'm
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
heal that trauma.
Yes. And that's why I'm more very sort of against, like, all these things which, like, like, glorify things beyond what it is. One should not do that. Like, one should always stick to the actual reality of that thing, and because that's where the progress starts from. Development, progress, work, everything starts from that point. you know so it's not like, a lot of people, even if you are feeling weak or something or anything like that, that's okay, that's not a big deal, like Tune saying. Then you can go into why you are feeling that, and what is the thing, and what is your thing, and all the whole thing and stuff like that. Then that clears up a lot of things for you. It's nothing which is, yeah, negative. Like, I mean, if people like change their diet on the basis of that, or people change so many things, the psychological things and a lot of that, then that's a positive step. It's not a negative step. Like, a lot of
Any
people who are saying,
change,
yeah,
like
change. I
we
mean,
were
and a lot of
talking.
people who are saying, no, yeah, they are this and they're that and this and that thing, and they're not doing anything. They live an undisciplined life and they don't care about anything, and they that thing, then that's no good. Like, I mean, that's not. And you say, like, a lot of these people you don't want to deal with when they come with their gold chains and stuff like that, and you know and like, they're not feeling weak in any way, shape or form, like, in that way. But then that's not a evolutionary thing. Like, they think if you think you're already there, you're not going to do anything.
Exactly.
You will just say, like, I'm there. If you're there, then matter ends. Like, that's like the game. Okay, you're there, and then you're there. Like, what's remaining now? No, you don't have to work, you don't have to do anything. Okay, like, You are there, like, okay, like, I mean, and you are not there, and the reality is you're just like a slave to some stupid system with some stupid that thing, and that's what the reality is, and that's what creates the whole schism in the whole thing.
Yeah.
In the multiverse, everything has got to be real. Like, if you're there, if you are that level where you can create a whole world of your own, or realm of your own, or like even anything of your own, then it'll be seen, like, whether you can do that or not, yeah,
And it
yeah,
seems like
yeah,
we want everything to be sparkling on the outside, like we wear jewels, diamond, and all that. And then diamond worth nothing. Try to go resell it, your diamond. You're gonna see it worth nothing. It's
yeah,
just another hype. And you get when you they make fun of us so much because when you get married, you go buy a big peanut, a big garnet, a big
yeah,
rock diamond, and you think it works like it's so sparkly, and it worth nothing. The
yeah,
diamond worth nothing. Go try to resell it, like I said. But not
yeah,
only that, is we put everything on the outside that is very, very sparkly, but we
yeah,
don't let shine the inside. This is the thing. We're so
yeah.
lost on the outside.
I mean, yeah, because all those beings which are more concerned about the outside, they don't have a spirit. If a being is not, it doesn't have any inquiry or anything, that being does not have a spirit at all. And there are robots, there are automatons, there are beings which don't have a spirit. So those beings misguide other beings with spirit, and beings with spirit start to imitate those beings and try to be like them, and then they find that they cannot, because that's not in them, because in their, they have a different kind of spirit inside them, which allows them to actually question things, and have that thing, a spirit of inquiry, which I talked about in this that thing many times, that they will inquire, like what is all this, what is this construct I am in, what is all this, like, and everything, they will do that. Okay, they can't just be they can't just have a diamond on their finger and be happy about it all their life. Okay, like, looking at it sparkle, that is not gonna give them any kind of satisfaction. you know like you cannot gain satisfaction as a spirit just looking at a diamond all the time, like that. You just cannot do that, like, it's not gonna happen for you, like, so
No,
it's, yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
something you go away, but I don't know. We get to be
yeah,
so much on the outside stuff that's it. We get lost in it. The other thing I wanted to hear you about, we're gonna change a bit the subject, but it's stuff people talk about a lot. But you've been around a lot of places. Like, I seen you in the crop circles and all that.
yeah.
Have you ever been to see the Northern Lights and make sense of it, like reflect about it and all that? And also at the same time, maybe like many people are talking, I know it's, to me, it doesn't mean really much because I haven't experienced it, but the Holy Grail and that thing that blood over intent, the 1,400 people or 144,000 that would die. We hear all kinds of stuff, man. It's
Yeah, yeah,
terrible. Like,
yes, yes, yes.
shed
Okay,
a bit of
okay,
light, put a bit of light on this, all that stuff. The center of the earth would be like a
okay,
big hole. We jump in and there would be a supercomputer. I hear all kinds of stuff, man. It's
okay,
terrible.
okay, okay,
So go
okay,
ahead.
okay. Yeah, I've been to Northern Lights, and I've seen Northern
Oh
Lights,
yeah.
and you
Okay.
can see my films with it. Like, I have like films with, I saw them in Scotland and Iceland, and and
Okay.
so I've been, and it is like, the light which is coming out is the same green light, which is the same color, which is the heart chakra on your chart out there, if you in the back,
Yeah.
that green.
Yeah.
Okay, what is that? That is the heart chakra, right?
The heart.
Yeah. So it is, only, it's the same light actually, which is the heart chakra light. Okay, so there's a central sun in the earth in the center. Okay, that is emitting that green light. Okay. O- so and the thing is that, people who are thinking that they can just go to North Pole and just jump in or whatever and things like that, the point is that they cannot go there, because you can only do that once you've sorted yourself out. If you're psychologically completely sorted and everything, like, you have no problems, no issues in that thing, and you have the right behavior to go to harems and stuff like that, then only you can even enter that place. Okay, so even military, nobody goes to that area, like, no, nothing from earth goes into that area. Okay, like, that's the fact of it, like, no, nothing, no one goes into that area first. Okay, and if you do decide to go, you can only go once you have that level of, you have reached that level of being. Okay, which you can, if you have reached that level of being, then you can leave your physical body too anyways, and go to that place anyways. You don't have to take your physical body there, basically. If you have reached that level, okay, of being, then you can actually just sit down and within 5 minutes leave your physical body. Okay, then it won't be suicide or anything. You'll not do anything. You just sit down and you leave your physical body, and your physical body will just stay back, and then you can go to that realm and that kind of thing. So, or if you want to take your physical body straight into the North Pole out there and actually just jump, like, then you can go to lower realms too. You can go to hell too. You can go to, and your physical body will be destroyed, but your spirit will be taken down to lower realms. Okay, it, like, just because you're jumping there doesn't mean you're going to go higher. Okay, like, people have this wrong notion that if you go and jump out there, then go higher, because that's a, like a central tunnel. It's like a central tunnel, like that, like it's like a pipe. No, pipe can take you down and up both. It's a two-way street. It's not a it's not
Yeah.
a one-way ascension, that thing. Okay, so, like, it's called the Merudanda. It's like a central axis, the
And
in the
that's
center.
what formed the torus field around
Yeah.
and stuff. No?
Yeah, I mean, the central axis, the everything is around is created by that. Okay, that is the central energy point where the system. So people are getting some information and that thing, which is right about it, but what their notion about is wrong. You know, and there were people who had asked me, like, about this kind of thing, and there were some people called Blue Seals. I had a talk with them, and they were about to go to North Pole, and jump there. Those people,
Yeah. Yeah, I
and
heard about that too.
I told them the same thing. It was whatever the guy's name was. I told him, like, okay, when you jump there, you can go down to hell too. You that depends on what level you are at. Like, it's not going to be any different.
Yeah.
Just because you go there, jump, doesn't mean that you're going to go into a higher realm, into heaven, or into something better or something, that thing. It's not like that. you know and if with certain kind of things, you can't even get there. There are forces there which are guarding the whole thing. So unless you have made that rainbow bridge within yourself, from your, like, your third chakra onto the heart chakra, if you have created a rainbow bridge properly within yourself, then only can you even think of doing things like that. I'm not saying that people cannot go there, but they can only go there once they have done this kind of thing. you know
And
it's
if
it's
we say
I think-
it's a
yeah,
mental game here on Earth, it's a mental thing.
yeah,
It's a mindset that you have to acquire and get the.
yeah,
So it's the same
yeah,
thing wherever you go. It's all about your mindset, what you keep inside of you, how you
yeah,
feel inside. Like if you feel
yes,
you're in heaven on Earth, you're gonna be on heaven on Earth. If you feel like it's
yeah,
hell, that's why Bob said you think you're in heaven, you're living in hell because it's in your head.
yes. And the point is, like, then, like, once you start going in the real path, then your circumstances, your surroundings, and everything will start changing anyways for that. So whatever nonsense you were in before will start disappearing in actual
Yeah.
reality too. So it's not just like inside your head, it'll start manifesting too for you outside too. Okay, so, like, it's inside first, but then outside follows. So
But
inside is
then
first. Yeah,
that takes time, right? That
yeah,
takes
yeah.
time.
That takes time, and that's where you have to be persistent.
Yeah.
you know you shouldn't have this sense of lack of patience. Okay.
Sometimes I
Like,
do.
yeah, now, patience, perseverance, all these terms, which are part of discipline only. Okay, they come under the umbrella of overall discipline, those things.
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know Yeah, so they come into play, and people have to understand that that's the case, and one has to have that constancy in that, and ability to stay in that, even though the outside circumstances might not be to your favor at that
Because
point.
during your elevation, what you receive is a great, great feeling on the outside, but there's not much gratification on the outside. Like you won't get a check in the mail. So people
Yeah.
are really, really not tempted to work on themselves because there's no check in the mail. But the
Yes, yes, yes,
gratification is from the inside. This is what I feel a lot. Like I
yeah, yeah,
become stronger, more
yeah, yeah,
wiser,
yeah.
more questioning stuff, and like just more connected.
Yes, yes. And as far as the blood over internet and all these things are concerned, like, those are not correct practices. Okay, they're not the right practices. Okay, because that's nothing. That's like shying away from work. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna dump a needle. It's very easy to put a needle and just put something on the paper and stuff like that. Like, it's an easy way out. People always look for some easy way out. Okay, something which can just suddenly do something for them just by like a little act of something in the present. Just one act. It's like one act in the present. Okay, it's not a continuous action. It's not a continuous work or discipline or anything like that. Is And that appeals to people right now. Like, anyone who gives them anything like that, okay, you just do this one thing and this is going to happen for you. Everybody's ready to listen to that. People want instant thing like that, gratification like that. So everybody's ready to listen to these kind of things. So whenever these kind of things come, you'll find there are 100,000, 200,000 million followers of these kind of things immediately.
Oh,
Okay.
immediately.
Yeah, because why that is because people feel like, okay, like, oh, I just this once, yeah, that's great, like, I mean, and that's gonna take me to heavenly realms, or it's gonna like create the whole thing for me, like the ascension for me and everything. Like, I just have to drop my blood on it, like, and that's it. So it is very appealing because there's no discipline, there's no persistence, there's no perseverance, there's no psychological, but there's nothing you have to do. you know and
That's
and
why that
and
blood over intent.
yeah, yeah,
You can
yeah,
pour your blood on a piece of paper and that, but if you don't have the discipline to follow through with action and
yeah,
real discipline, come
yeah.
on.
Yeah, I mean, so that's one. I mean, and you can tell yourself, like, all the people who are in that, they need a lot of psychological work themselves, like the beings who are actually the leaders of that movement. They need a lot of psychological work themselves in the first place, and nothing is happening for them, and they're getting worse day by day because because it's just something which is been, and it is, and that people fall for it because it's so easy. you know like, if somebody says, like, you just have to do this thing out there, go eat a bagel in the morning and stuff like that, and everybody's ready to do that, like, like, so, I mean, it's just something which is given, sort of like, and that's why people fall for it. And there are other things as well where people say you don't have to do anything at all. you know just a light is going to come and the sun is going to burst, and and you just will go along with that light and you'll go up, like, people are saying all kinds of
And
things like that.
when
Yeah,
you just do the easy stuff in life, it's going to be very hard. Your life, you better
yeah,
expect it. I don't expect it
yeah.
easy. I expect this work to be. It's not a grind. It's not a grind. Like, I'm not
Absolutely,
grinding on
it's fun. I mean,
myself,
it's fun. It's
but
fun. It's not.
it's
I'm
fun.
not saying it's
It's
fun.
fun.
Yeah, it's not fun, but it's continuous. Time tests you. Okay, time is there to test you. Yeah, yeah. So time actually makes you, like, it's not like something which you do one day or something, or 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, like, and you are ready to do that work because it's fun for you and you don't mind doing it for all time.
Yeah.
Like, you, without expectations of any kind. So that's what the thing is, and these people are being more expectant of some sort of result. And people are right now, as I said before, are finding themselves in very bad situations. Like, a lot of people are in a lot of jobs and stuff they don't want to do, and they are really, really desperate right now. There are a lot of desperate people on earth right now. Okay, very, very desperate. Okay, so the desperate people are looking for something to take them out of that desperate situation. So
Yeah.
any quick fix anyone gives them, immediately they'll jump on it. Okay, it is 100% thing. You can psychologically tell why that will be so. you know because that desperation will lead them to, okay, tell me anything. Okay, is this thing, I'll try that. Okay, is this thing, I'll try that. Okay, it's like that. Okay, right now, because the desperation is very. And so my point is, when desperation is so much, at that point one has to make this choice. Either I'm going to work my way out of this desperation, or I'm going to go for quick fixes. Okay.
And that desperation could also surface once you start being aware of the lies and deception. You could be desperate to know.
Yeah,
Also, there's a lot of people desperate to know, and that can be very
yeah,
confusing also, because
yeah.
like a man that knows something knows he knows nothing at all. That's
Yeah,
I
but the
know.
point is that, yeah,
Don't
but
come here for instruction on the reality and stuff. We're sharing our experience with life,
yeah,
but
yeah,
we're not
you're
instructing.
desperate to know what to do. Okay, like, to me, knowledge and information are different. A lot of people are desperate for information,
Yeah,
not for
yeah.
knowledge. Okay, knowledge is something which is applicable to you. Applicable means you can do something with it. You can actually start doing something practical with it. Knowledge is something practical, like, what can I eat, what can I do with my body, how to do that thing, how to be centered, or how to. That's knowledge.
Yeah.
Other thing is information. Okay, you might get information, there's a green sun in the center of earth and it is giving out this thing. Okay, but you cannot practically apply that to your life in any way, shape, or form. You can get this information. Okay, but you cannot apply that to yourself. What are you going to do with that? Like, knowledge is a practical thing. Okay. Knowledge means applicable information to your own self. Okay. And what you can do with it. Okay. Rest is information. People are desperate, and in their desperation, they are going for information. Okay. And there's a lot of misinformation amongst that information. So there'll be a lot of right information, and there'll be all kinds of misinformation. So they are in the sea of information and misinformation. Okay. But none of it is knowledge, because they can't practically apply it to themselves. Okay. And whatever practical application they get is like blood over intent. Okay. That kind of thing. Okay. Just that is one practical thing they are told. Okay. Put it onto a paper. Okay. That's the level of like applicable knowledge they're getting, which is not knowledge, which is just nonsense. So again, what I'm saying is there is no knowledge in any of this. So from desperation for information, one has to get desperate for knowledge. Okay, that's another step which will happen when people get desperate enough and they get bored of all this information. Then they will go for the desperation for real knowledge, which they can apply for themselves. Yeah.
And I think that separation inside ourselves occurred the day that I start. I remember that day. There's a video on YouTube. I think it's my second or first video. I think it's the first I've done. I came in the front here and I looked at the sun and I said that I did not discover how bad this world is. I discovered how powerful I am, and that from that day I was applying the lies and deception to myself, like to discover that old power inside me. But it's not how bad the world is. Like even today, the world has gone mad in this, but that's the people that live like that. I live in a very high spirit, very I want to be true to myself and all these stuff. So I don't really relate to the mad, bad, evil world. I relate more to the dream of life than the dream of hell.
Yeah, but knowledge has to be practically applicable to your own being and what you have to do. Like right now, you are on Earth, you have a physical body, you are here, and you have there with this instrument. Now, what to do? Because you're going to do something. It's not like you cannot just like completely be in a cryogenic freeze. Okay, with this, you'll do some actions with this body. Now, what action should one do? Okay, then that's a practical thing. Okay, now so that is what knowledge is, like what to do practically with your instrument while you are here. And that's the main thing anyone should be going for. Like if anybody has any sense on Earth, that is the knowledge they should be going for. What should I do practically with my instrument, because I have it and I'm here and I've got the energy? What should I do with that? And that would be knowledge. Okay, not just information, which is information overload right now happening anyways for people. And then in that they're forgetting that that's the real knowledge. And once you do that, apply that knowledge, then you can apply it, and you can work. And then when you work, then other things become clear to you. The clarity comes with the work.
There is a moment where you're gonna have this. I had this moment of clarity. It was not at the beginning of realizing all this, because it goes by. I've done a lot of reasoning with a lot of people, but the one that touched my heart, like really to create that shift, is Arthur Christian. There's certain people that really like made me realize more the journey was internal than external, and the stuff outside and stuff. So there is people that's going to show up in your life if you open your heart, if you connect, that will also guide you. I think this is how the divine guide us, is with each other. We're here to help each other, and you have an experience with life that I would love to share with us. So we just connect and we do this very naturally.
In that way, my life I share anyways, like with my music, with my plays, with my that things, and I share it anyways how I live, how I am, or how I'm being. Like I always share about my life is very public in that way. Like it's very like open and accessible to people. Like what and I just do it by example. So if someone wants to learn, they can learn by example. They can just watch, and they can just thing. So like I'm applying certain standards to myself and certain work to myself, and if it pleases them and appeals to them, they can apply the same work to themselves. It's not that thing. It's an actual like a work. It's not something which is just like that. Like it's something which, like, even after that initial thing, you still have to spend time in nature. You would have to do that work. You would have to observe. You'll have to do all that work continuously from that point. It's nothing which is just 1 day or 2 days, or like they can be inspiration, but then there has to be a follow through, like, like it's not
Oh,
just a, yeah,
you have to make a commitment. Me, I made a commitment at the beginning with myself, not with the world or others, or
obviously to
with
yourself.
myself. Commitment with yourself that you're gonna keep elevating, and it's not maybe until I levitate. Maybe I'll elevate until I levitate, but anyway,
Yeah,
it's really to levitate. You can levitate inside yourself also. You can be very, very light here. You don't have to have a heavy weight on your shoulder and like can breathe. Like you
yeah,
can have an easy life, like feeling light and a light, and
yeah,
that feeling of lightness will bring you also that connection, that more true love, genuine love, and that's how
oh,
I feel it today. But the
yeah,
more I have to keep opening my heart and let
yeah,
go of
yeah.
bad
And
vibration programming and stuff.
then when you have that lightness, you can get your work is more easy, and you are able to be disciplined more easily anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that you have to do, like, the more work you put, the more light you get, then more discipline you can have, then more fun you can have. The whole thing is a like a is it's a different kind of a cycle. It's like a upward spiral. It's a different kind of spiral one gets on, you know and but when people get on that spiral, only then they can tell then how it is, and then how discipline becomes a fun thing on that spiral. Okay, it's not something, because you're feeling light anyways, so you don't mind putting in that work. It's not like a chore, which is like, when people work for jobs and stuff, because their whole thing, their whole concept of that is like working in a job and stuff, and that is not fun. Okay, because that is all like, it's a problematic thing. So obviously, like, people have a wrong idea of these things from their experiences in the world out there, of what is called jobs and what is called discipline, school, and everything, which is a very different sense of that. you know so yeah,
again, we find pleasure on the outside. When the
yeah,
pleasure has to be inside, you must
yeah,
be able to hold the joy and the true, genuine joy within yourself. Like
yeah, yeah,
I'm very
yeah,
happy. Like I want to. There's no moment I'm depressed or I'm bored or I'm no. I'm never bored. I never feel disconnected. And I'm always alone. And I'm always
yeah,
alone. Almost. I have no friends around. Not too
yeah,
many. I don't have a big social life like I have. I come
yeah,
on YouTube to talk about my stuff because even if I like, there's being not on the same really level of reasoning and conscience. So even in
yeah,
Babylon, I can go to the grocery. I just been approached by two politicians the other day at the store, and I just started to tell them that the whole thing I don't mix with lies, and they got all offended. Like I didn't go too deep. I said sorry, sir, but I don't mix with lies and deception. So politics is not really my thing.
yeah,
I didn't know what to tell him because I knew he like they don't see it. Like it's so.
yeah. It's, I mean, it's obviously like, obviously that on that level, it's a very, very that thing, like, not beings are not woken up to that level, and a lot of beings don't have any kind of awakening at all. So then there is a whole different kind of beings right now on earth itself. So so interactions cannot happen in that kind of way, like,
And it's
which,
and
yeah,
PT,
yeah,
it's not because they
yeah,
go in politics telling themselves deliberately, I'm gonna confuse people, I'm gonna play with people's mind and this. No, it is the whole thing that is made for it. But the
yeah,
people fall for it like not every politician that has a super aware you wouldn't go in politics and control
yeah,
people's mind and control what they think to control what they do. If
yeah,
you are aware of yourself, of who
yeah.
you are and your duty here to inspire and to
like
shine and to come on.
like we said, we will be busy already, like, you know
Yeah. You won't even be concerned about politics and stuff
you'll
like
be
that.
very
Like,
concerned about your own body politic, your own politic.
yeah.
But the word politic comes from pole I tie, around the pole I tie, which is your own axis. Like, you'll be busy in your own axis, and you have to do your own politic. And your body has a politic, your body politic, your mental politic, your psychological politic. So you will be well busy with that, rather than what is they call politics out there is not politics at all, anyways. So, like,
Yeah.
it's actually a waste of time and energy for yourself, and you bring yourself down, and you bring others down with yourself, which is what is called negative karma, like more bad negative karma, which brings you down on a cycle of, That's a devolute.
That's why even going out and telling people about stuff like this, even that day I hurt myself. I should just ignore it. I should not say nothing, just ignore it, because just telling him that I'm hurting myself. I felt it after. I felt weird. Like I felt like I prefer just ignore the
Yeah, no,
beings
I mean,
that are
that's
sleeping.
yeah, yeah.
Then I
Yeah,
don't.
that's that, but that's where the whole like sort of what I said before, like you have to have one beings develop common sense to know what beings one is
Yeah,
dealing with. No interaction is possible between two beings unless both beings are aware, or being is aware of who they are dealing with. Okay, so so that it becomes very important to know that, like, and know that clearly, and that's where the common sense comes in and steps in and tells you, look, okay, this being is that, no, so there's nothing, there's no such talk possible, there's no point saying anything, or and best not to engage
yeah.
with that. Okay, yeah, the word is engage, like,
And
so
this is where also the
yeah,
one love, one people,
yeah.
all this come into play, to make us feel like we're all one. And I think there's something weird with that. I always
No, no,
perceive
that's
something
wrong.
weird.
Nobody's like, no, there are different levels of beings and different things and stuff like that, and nobody, it's not like one this thing, it's not. I'm telling you, like, there are a lot of beings out here on earth who don't even have a spirit. They look like human beings, they walk like human beings, but they don't have a spirit. Okay, so like beings have to be very, very careful. Okay, that, like, not everything is the same or anything like that. Okay, which I'm going to repeat over and over again. Everything is on different levels and different things. Like, one, in the sense the multiverse is one. Okay, that's fine, but that's not a but that's energies, and there's different levels of energies. Okay, so, and when one comes to love means evolution. Okay, so like when you want something good for that thing, like for example, like if you have a robot at home. Okay, for example, like if you have a robot at home, you can't say like, oh, I love this robot. Okay, no, you cannot love that robot, because that robot is not gonna have any evolutionary thing. It is what it is. It's a machine. It's gonna die when it ends, or whatever, it breaks down or whatever. It's not gonna have an ascension or an evolution or anything. So the word love does not apply in that case. You know, like, that's why people say, I love my house and I love my that thing, and that's the kind of person who was there trying to save their house in Hawaii because they
Yeah,
love that.
that's it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, but what I'm saying is, but the word love does not apply to these things. Okay, so the wrong use of that word will get you into trouble. I mean, the word love is used so much in every song in this world. Like, I mean, there are million billion songs with the word love is used.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I mean, and you get tired of hearing it because it's always applied in a wrong context. It's not what love is in the first place. Love is to do with evolution, and a being which has evolution and possibility of evolution. Okay, things don't have possibility of evolution. Like, that's not, things and objects are not that. They're not spirit. Okay, yeah,
And
they are
this is
energy,
where
but they're not spirit. Yeah,
develop the
yeah,
love for life.
yeah. You have to, one has to love the spirit.
Yeah.
And the spirit of ascension and evolution, and spirit automatically means that spirit by itself has that spark, that spark of life, which means that anyways. So if one is in love with that, that's a different thing. That's a different kind of love. But all these other, the same word can be used for so many different things, which is very confusing for people, and that kind of thing. So like, even if you have love of every kind, you still have to respond in this multiverse depending on what you're dealing with, you know and that's the loving thing to do. I mean, why should you not respond as per what that thing, that means you have a awareness and consciousness of what you're dealing with, and you respond accordingly. Then that's love. I mean, how is that not love? Like, you understand I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's so if you don't say something or you don't engage, then that's love too. Like, I mean it's that's, like, love doesn't mean like forcibly engaging when somebody doesn't want to engage, or will not be any use for them, or it is not that thing. It's not a What I'm saying is, it's not a dumb thing, love. It's an intelligent thing. It's an intelligent, conscious thing. It's not, people have turned into a very dumb thing where, the same things or same rules or same thing applies for everything. You just say hi, hello to everyone, then that's love. That's not, you know, yeah, like, yeah,
Or we make love, even the idea of making love.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
sex. It's not
yeah,
making love, it's sex.
yeah. I mean,
Like,
love
what
is,
is that? That I just thought of it. I'm like, yeah, we also, oh, yeah, we're going to make, no, it's sex. Like you're not, because you're not really connecting to a deep, genuine love. So you're just having sex.
Yes, yes. Which is means energy crossing. Sex means many energy crossings. Okay, S is many, E is energy, and X is crossing. Okay, so like you're crossing, like even if you hug a person, for example, okay, then you are having those energy crossings
Okay.
with that person. So you don't have to do like that, whatever people call that act, like that energy crossings happen physically when people deal with each other physically anyways. Okay, so it's just a word, means energy crossings, that's all it means. Like, so like,
That's
yeah,
why sometimes also you can have that same feeling
yeah,
with your partner, and there's no need for penetration or stuff
yeah,
to
yeah.
have that energy crossing.
Yeah,
Uh,
energy crossing will happen. Even I told you, if even if you hug a person, that energy crossing will happen immediately. Like, okay,
yeah,
so that's, so the people don't understand, like again, these terms and stuff people just use without actually knowing what they mean and what it actually is and stuff like that. And there's a whole lot of confusion which comes out of all of that, like, so it's these kind of things. All these words need a new dictionary and a new definition and everything, because all
uh,
they've gotten from the Oxford is lies and that thing, like it's a whole sense and concept of what it means, everything, uh, like, so if beings are aware of that, then they would know, like, do I really want to cross my energies with this being, okay, or not? Okay, like, then that's a decision you make consciously as a being,
that's it.
like, so all of that, like, that gives you that awareness and consciousness. Okay, like, what should I do or what should I not do? Or, because like, whole life is decisions. Okay, and actions are decisions. All actions are decisions. So you have to make a decision. For making a decision, you have to have some consciousness and some knowing about what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. Okay, so all of that you have to like, you have to learn.
'Cause
You have to be open to learning that. Yeah,
I don't think without awareness you can
yeah,
come to a true conscious decision of what you're doing in the moment.
yeah,
Like you're
yeah, yeah,
just often acting with a program or with
yeah.
your selfishness or your ego or
Yeah, yeah. And that's what, and life is decisions for any person, even the one with the ego or with these negative or like lower functionings. Even then, still they have to make decisions. Everyone has to make decisions every day, like millions of decisions, and that's what life is. And those decisions require consciousness and knowing, like, and people should be open to learning that. Okay, and when you have openness to learning that, then only something is going to happen. Like, if you think you already know, then there'll be a problem. Like, then you're in trouble. Like, and if you don't know and you think you know, and you take decisions, then you will face the music, like, let's call facing the music, and then you learn, okay, now this is what happened. Okay, then you have to be honest to face that. Okay, this is what happened, and then I have to change from there, like, so that
yeah,
that has to be, yeah. So that
that's it.
opening to learning is the most important thing, and once that happens in any being, then that being will evolve and love will flow. Yeah.
Love will flow exactly from
Yeah,
being, that's it,
yeah,
just the being you're supposed to be here, not the
yeah,
one that they told you when you start. I think
yeah,
it's a quest also. There's question, and there that's important to go through
yeah,
that. I think me anyway, I know it's a lifetime commitment. It's gonna take a lifetime probably to just
yeah,
get to the
yeah,
vibe where
yeah,
the vibe I envision. But I'm
yeah,
getting there. I'm getting there, and each and every day that we work on it, that we are involved with the dream of life, creating more vibration, elevating together, it's gonna happen eventually. Like we're
yeah,
not here to rescue the whole world, but at least we rescue ourselves, and in the process, we inspire other brothers and sisters to maybe create that insurrection within their hearts and
yeah,
rise and shine, and just shine the love and the light that you have inside originally, because it's not something you have to go buy at the grocery market of hell, love, light, and all that stuff. It's all inside of us. It's just we're very, very corrupt inside, and we don't have a really true sense of who we are, and we get lost in Babylon
yeah.
for
Because
many.
beings don't have a sense. They don't have a center. Beings don't have a center. Okay,
Yeah,
so for developing a center, you have to develop a center. For that, you have to keep your body centered. You have to keep your speech centered. You have to
exactly.
keep your being centered. So which is called having a center. And if you don't have a center, then you will be just thrust around here and there, and like kicked around like a ball, like in that
You
different
will
things.
end
So
up. with
Yeah.
addiction also, which is
Yeah.
adding to your diction. It's
No, no, no,
always
no, lack of diction.
makes you
Lack of
speak
diction.
funny at one point.
No, lack of diction. Okay, like addiction mean the word like letter A always means negative of, like lack of.
Yeah.
Okay, in that thing. So lack of diction leads to addiction. Okay, so if you have a proper diction, then you will never have any addiction. You will not fall prey to any kind of addiction. Okay, so that requires just your speech to be proper and your diction to be proper and centered, and that's all you require to like beat any kind of addiction, whether in this world, drugs, smoking, alcohol, whatever it might be. So like, or you know,
This is
yeah,
where I'm gonna bring you to into our next reasoning together. It's been 2 hours.
yeah,
We're gonna
yeah,
stop this one there. For we
yeah,
always say 2 hours is good, but I have a
yeah,
lot of other stuff, and that wasn't there. I had the cannabis on the list and other medicinal plants or other drugs that could potentially
yeah,
like do lots of harms. I have a lot of stuff. I want to hear you also about more about the Vedic astrology. I want to dive deep into this and
yeah,
you explaining, because there is people that never heard of it, and it could possibly, there's lots of great stuff in there, and I would like you to take it to explain it maybe your way, your experience with it, and also the knowledge that you have about it, but also with modern astrology, like the difference between modern astrology and Vedic astrology, and where we get
yeah,
confused, because modern astrology can confuse us a lot,
yes,
especially.
yeah.
We're gonna talk about this stuff. I want to know more about the Vedic
Okay,
astrology
yeah,
thing.
next time. Yeah,
Yeah, next
okay.
time in the Taurus field, the electric universe. I have a flower of life. I want to hear you about the periodic table of elements. Man and woman becoming together to become the man. That's what I've heard. Someone came on the Trumon Show and said the only way we will become the man, that like it's to man and woman when they come together in this the genuine divine love. Man and woman come together, creates the man, the real man, out of the woman, out of the man, and something like that. I don't know what you think about it, but
Yeah,
we will.
yeah, yeah. We can do that next time. All of that. Yes. Yeah.
We will explore all this. So thank you very much, everyone, for being with us on this astrology. Would be awesome to listen to. Yeah, even people agree with me. So that's good. And that's it. We'll talk about the whole. I
Yes.
have a list. I don't need a list. I have it in my head also.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
that's it. Thank you very much, PT, for
Yes, sir.
coming on
Until
the
the next.
Trumon Show again. And it's a real honor for me.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone for watching and being with us, sharing those divine moments. It's a succession of divine moments. We're not too much in time in the moments, but thank you very much. And we're gonna connect together for planning another one for sure. Maybe next Wednesday if you're available. Or are you still you're in UK now, eh?
Yeah. Yes. 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 So next Wednesday we can.
So you okay with next Wednesday? I can
Next,
plan it already, yeah?
next
Okay,
Wednesday.
perfect. I'll make a little thumbnail and all that stuff, like I
Okay.
do usually.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much, my brother. I wish you a very, very great moment,
Yes.
moment, great nows, and that's it. We'll see each other again next
Yes.
strong. I don't like to use the word week. Next strong Wednesday.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much. We're out.